This is the start of my podcast series called The Doom Movement, and just before you leave, because it sounds like something where we try to take over the world or something, it's not. Basically, we're going to have gameplay in the background, we're going to talk about retro shooters, because my friend really doesn't want Doom to be known as the guy from Fortnite. So here we are. So, AJ, do you care if I use your name or no?
Yeah, I don't care. You can use it.
Okay. AJ's gonna walk us through this a little bit, because I have no idea what this is, and then I'll be playing Dauntless in the background just for, like, slightly more entertainment or whatever. Anyways, yeah, AJ, you want to go ahead and get started?
Alright. So, I think, like, before I need to go into, like, the whole thing of retro shooters, I feel like we need to kind of go down, like, something that's kind of consistent along them is I feel like you gotta know, like, the history a little bit. It's not super, like, complicated, just, like, a few of the games that were, like, really big. So, the whole, so the first time whenever shooters kind of got off the ground, it was, at first, like, you know, PC gaming and all that, it was with people who had made Doom. It was id Software. You know them, right?
No.
Okay, well, get used to it, because you're going to be hearing id Software a lot. They made Doom, so, you know.
Okay.
So, with, at first, they didn't, so Doom was not their first game. It was definitely not their, like, first actual shooter that they made. Originally, they had made stuff like, platformers and stuff, and they mostly just made a lot of, like, little computer games, and they made stuff like side-scrollers just to prove that computers could do it. It wasn't just the old Nintendos that could do it. But then they made a game called Hover Tank, and it was, like, one of the first, like, they made quite a few little, like, prototypes of what a first-person sort of engine would be.
Okay.
And they weren't super impressive, but the first game that probably could be, that's the first one that people could, it was the first one you probably ever heard of. The other ones that probably weren't that impressive, but the first one you would have heard of is probably been Wolfenstein. Have you ever heard of Wolfenstein?
No. AJ, I've heard of very few first-person shooters.
Alright. So Wolfenstein was an old FPS game that was made by id Software, one of, like, the first big first-person games made. It was, there wasn't really anything too special about it. It was mostly, really the only thing that people remember it for is, it was, like, the funny game where every single map was pretty much just a little maze, and it was super simplistic, and it was basically just about shooting Nazis. It was just, like, that stuff. So,
Sorry, I just wasn't expecting that to be, like, a game or something. Like, I wasn't expecting, like, just shooting Nazis to be, like, a full game.
well, I mean, yeah. It was a little more complicated than that. There was still, like, there's still, like, techniques in it, and, it was still just a pretty standard first-person game. But it was pretty impressive for being the first one to ever be made. Or, I mean, not the first one to ever be made, but more the first proper sort of dive into trying making a full game about it. And then the main event, this is the first first-person shooter that people will actually recognize, which is Doom. Now, really, the only thing that, like, Doom really had above Wolfenstein is that it had verticality. The thing with Wolfenstein is that it was pretty much just one little floor. Everything was maybe one block of height. There was no real, like, vertical or whatever. It was just, like, basically a grid where you controlled a guy who shot little lines of bullets at little enemies. It wasn't super complicated. Doom was a little more sophisticated with its sort of engine, where you had like verticality. Enemies could be above you, and you had, like, you could interact with objects a lot better, more than what Wolfenstein had, which, whenever it came to interacting with objects, it was mostly just running against a wall and constantly...
Oh my god, I found it! Sorry, I've just been looking for the glider.
Until eventually you can, until eventually you just open up a secret wall or something. This was a lot more sophisticated with how it would work. It has a lot more stuff like switches, like interactive elements, little like stuff that would happen in levels, like triggers and whatnot. Stuff like ambushes they would make, and it's a lot. It was a lot more of a step up. the next big little leap was the actual first, like, true 3D game, I'm pretty sure, that exists. It came out one day before Super Mario 64, and it was Quake. That was their first little sort of going into... It was their first sort of a dive into the sort of 3D market. I mean, the first actual... It pretty much was just Doom, but mostly you could aim upwards, and it was a lot more... It just was Doom in 3D than, like, actual true 3D, instead of the fake one that they trick you into thinking it's actually 3D whenever... It's really just kind of a grid.
Alright.
It's a very highly technical grid.
Okay.
But one of the big things about Quake is, yeah, it was the first 3D game, but also one of the other big talking points about it is it was a hellish development whenever they had to make it. Mostly because of the really confusing visions of people at id. Whenever they found Quake, whenever Quake was a game that was there was like ideas for it before even Doom came out. Like, back in the one of their old, side-scrolling platformers, you could see there was a little teaser for a game that they had called Quake, and it was meant to be originally like, you controlling this sort of like Nordic Thor kind of guy, and, he would have like this whole hammer, and basically would be traveling throughout time, and it was meant to be this whole grand adventure and all that, and that's what they were trying to make Quake. They made it a first-person game with this sort of grand adventure, but they couldn't make it, mostly because of the limitations at the time, and the confusing vision of the people at id, the people who were directing the project, made it pretty difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Made it pretty difficult, and eventually they just kind of gave up and decided to just make it like Doom, and the development of Wolfenstein, I think, took about 6 months.
And if it ain't broke.
Actually, no, yeah. The development of Wolfenstein, my memory might fail me here, but the memory of how long it took for Doom to come out, for Wolfenstein to come out, was 4 months. Doom, I'm pretty sure, was 6 months. Quake, I think, took about a year and a half to make. It was way longer than it probably took for any other game in the industry, other than maybe Super Mario Bros. 3 that was in development for like 2 years. But that's really the only other game I can think of that had a pretty long development cycle back in the 90s. That wasn't something on like a plate, that wasn't on like a console like the N64. Something that all the way back whenever games were just a small little thing, they weren't super big.
Yeah.
So then that happens. There was Quake, and then after this, that's whenever id Software started to kind of go a little bit of a downward spiral. They started, after Quake, they made Quake 2, which was pretty mediocre. I mean, I played it, I thought it was pretty okay. It wasn't super impressive, though, and it wasn't super original, and it kind of started to go into it sort of making the same game over and over again, just with better engine and graphics and whatnot. They could do great whenever it came to... They do absolutely amazing whenever it comes to making stuff like engines and graphics and software and all that, but...
When it comes to the actual game...
Whenever it came to the actual game, it was very hard for them to put any more substance into it.
Yeah, and just like, because I can't add very much to first-person shooters, but,
Well, I mean, it's more or less they kind of started to become really unoriginal with how they would make it. Most of them would just kind of consist of being, spaceman sort of... What's happening?
What do you mean?
I'm getting a lot of notifications. And I heard like another call going off. Something was happening.
Insert thing here was going on.
There was a ton. It was like just a bunch of like radio chatter. It was like some kind of like cartoon music, like cartoon noises going on. And there's a bunch of little like, you hear like a bunch of like slipping around, like people slamming up banana peels. You hear like, like crashing.
What? Why is that the sound? Like, is that your notification noise? Is that your notification noise of banana peels?
No, it's not. It's not like... No, I'm just saying, like, because there was just so much, like, random stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense than being the, you know, banana peels.
We just exaggerating. Yeah. Yeah. And then after this, there were other sort of there were a lot of other games to come out, but the main two games that you should really think of that were inspired a lot of the retro shooters were Quake and Doom, and that's kind of like the whole beginning of this.
So, basically, if I'm getting this right, so if I just like to recap
they're
here.
exactly like a lot of the shooters that are like, it's not really like modern shooters where they're a lot more slower and slower paced. They were really fast paced. There was no reloading. They were fast. Meant to just kind of be like, you know, nice frantic action, but none of them were really that complicated.
So just to recap real quick, there were shooters before Doom and Quake, but Quake and Doom were the games that kind of like really got the genre going.
The ball rolling.
Got the ball rolling, yeah. Okay, so alright. So we've got that, and then a bunch of other games, Doom and Quake.
A bunch of other games came out, and then eventually the industry, and then we'll have to kind of like start where the we'll start back is whenever it's probably around 2009 and such, whenever they started to make a little more like slower paced modern shooters, you know, stuff like Call of Duty, stuff like Battlefield, whatnot.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, Battlefront 2, which is an optional one, and Call of Duty are the only ones that I'd heard about other than Doom, so I don't know much about the genre.
Yeah, they're not too knowledgeable, but yeah, whenever this started happening, people who actually liked the classic shooters and stuff like it was fast-paced and had a lot more going on with it were kind of left in the dust. They didn't really have them, because there wasn't really that much that would appeal to them.
Yeah, and just to like respond to a comment real quick, I've never had that before, so thanks a lot, bro. But no one's ever commented on a live, so you're the first one. But never mind, just keep going because I dragged that on longer than I should have to make it to make my response that much relevant. But anyways, yeah.
Also, if I start like if I stop talking for moments because I'm actually playing a retro shooter right now, I'm laying on.
Just tell me if you think you're gonna get into one of those zones, and I'll just start to take over with a bunch of random stuff. I don't know. I can't exactly talk much about first-person shooters, but I can.
A little bit improv.
Yeah, I can do it. I can pull it off.
And essentially,
I'll just start commenting.
This time, a lot of people really wanted a more like classic experience where, you know, it was kind of meant to be like what people originally had before. And there wasn't really too many games that have tried this. Really, the only ones I can think of, the only two that tried to be a little more fast and vibrant experience, really was a couple. The two of them that I know of were Rise of the Triad, which was another little retro shooter that came out, getting a remake back in 2013 that was incredibly janky, but was well received, mostly because it wasn't something that was modern. It was an actual meant to be just like, you know, a classic FPS game.
Yep.
And that's why that's pretty much the reason that I feel like anyone even remembers it.
Okay, and then just to give an idea what's happening on my end, I just killed the first behemoth for the video, regular Emberman. Ah, crap. My glider failed right as I deployed it. Okay, anyways. There were only a few games. There was Rise of the Triad 2013. That game was incredibly janky and really unfinished, but everyone enjoyed it at least because it was pretty much the first sort of true original FPS experience I could get at the time. There was also Rack, which I don't really know that much about it other than the fact that it sucked apparently. So, you know, take that as you will. So I mean, it's kind of like just to like. For people that don't speak 100% like video games, like for like the adults who don't speak the like modern video games, only speak things like an Atari, they came out with like a regular Atari that you could hook up to your TV. So is it kind of like that? Like adults really liked it, not because it was like incredibly good, but because it was like a return to the original. Is that what you're saying?
It was a return to form, more or less.
Okay. Just figured I'd give that one like a little more. I never know who's gonna understand what, so I just try to, like... Okay, I think AJ went into his thing where he's playing the game, so... Oh, okay.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Oh, never mind. A bear just came in here. There's a bear. There's a bear. Hold on.
One of these days, I'm just gonna animate audio from this, and I'm just gonna like animate when you say, "Oh wait, hang on, there's a bear that came in here." I'm gonna like switch over to like just like a random room and just have like a bear bust into the building and just like.
Yeah, Band of Brothers over here. Yeah. Oh my god, I wasn't trying to phone. Yeah. There was only a few of them. Most of them were pretty mid nowadays, and even then, a lot of them weren't really well received.
Yeah.
Most of the time, when people think of it, a lot of the people that like I learned a lot of stuff from. His name is CD11, and made a lot of hacky reviews sort of things, and was basically like parroting reviewers.
Okay.
He would review a lot of these retro games. He goes over a lot of history whenever, well, a lot of the bigger videos that he went on, he tends to go like a little bit of prefaces where he decides to go on. It's the sort of thing that I'm doing right now, where I'm explaining the whole history behind it in other games that came out that influenced the one that he was covering.
And just to like give an idea, soon we're gonna have my friend come in as like a special guest. We're gonna have like a special guest every episode, so that'll be in. I think if I'm doing my calculations correct, about like 13 minutes from now.
All right.
So we'll do like a really short recap because he's only got like 15 minutes. So we'll give him like a short recap so that he can like have some kind of understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, and after like all of those games came out, a lot of them were pretty okay, really. We didn't really get that much, but on Steam, but I don't really know what exactly spurred this, like what was the first game that came out that was successful, that was a retro shooter, but on Steam there's a ton of indie games that are just like meant to be retro shooters. There's a ton of them. Like an absolute smorgasbord, like you'd be spoiled for choice if you actually liked retro games.
So it wasn't like necessarily that, so is it possible that there wasn't really a game that started the trend, just like a bunch of people saw this and thought, well, we could do this and we'll see how it goes? Is that maybe what happened, or just...
I suppose. Really, there was only a few games that started to kind of give a little bit of an idea that people actually wanted to get a classic FPS game again, so... I don't think there was anyone that was AAA that actually decided to make one of those, but whenever Steam definitely picked up on it pretty quickly and made some pretty great, shooters. Ones that I really got a kick out of. I feel like there's a couple of them I would like to recommend.
Are you playing one of those now, or just...
Like, no, I'd like paused it, but yeah, the first one I'd probably like to recommend to someone is... Well, actually, I have like a bunch of recommendations. There's a ton that I...
How about one for beginners? How about one for beginners that want to get into the genre, that need to get used to the feel?
I feel like a really good starting one is Dusk. It's an incredibly great game. And, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just look at the Steam page right now for Dusk. Apparently I have an achievement called Unworthy, where I went to like the DLC thing and they, where you could like get cheats, and I used cheats, so I now have an achievement called Unworthy.
Great job. Hang on. I'm gonna go grab a chair, because right now I'm sitting on like a coffee table thing that's right in front of that's right in front of the TV screen, so I'm gonna grab a gaming chair that I have so I'm not breaking my neck looking at the screen. Just bear with me here. Okay. Alright. Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh god. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah, so I do think like Dusk is probably one of my favorites, honestly.
Yeah.
It has it's a nice fast game, and it kind of like it kind of balances the two genres since its aesthetics are a lot of horror-related stuff, but it managed to be like it's both a fun game, but also can occasionally get to like a claustrophobic horror level at the same time.
Okay, so
Like
for
movies.
people maybe like me, are there any that you would recommend that don't involve a horror factor?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, could you maybe recommend one?
Yeah, I think one of the first ones probably one of them I'd recommend if you don't want to do that is. It's going from that, right? One of the more popular ones I think is I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this one. I'm just gonna say White Hell is one of them.
Just go ahead. I don't. My mom can get mad if she wants, but
Yeah, White. It's meant to be a
it's a name. Don't. It's a name. It'll be fine.
yeah, White Hell. Cool, fun game. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, but it has at least a little bit of complexity to it. It's got a nice little, it's got a funky little story to it. It's definitely like too deep or complex. And honest, if I'm gonna be completely honest, there's not really much I can say about it. Other than I guess it has a lot of references in it.
Okay. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try to switch my end of the call to the computer because to get my friend in, I've got to call him on phone. So I'm gonna try to do this and hope that the behemoth I'm fighting doesn't try to kill me.
Yeah. Also, this place takes place in Finland, and one of the places where you can regain your health is being in a sauna, which is
Of
fun.
course, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Oh crap, Tarog is getting close to me. No, stay back, stay back, stay back, stay back. I said stay back, you beast.
You're fending off the demon.
I mean, if you look on the live stream, AJ, you'd see what's going on my screen right now. You would see the Charog that I am currently against. I mean, it's a normal Charog, but you know.
Another game. If you're someone who's into not only who doesn't want like just a normal shooter game, but also kind of wants a little bit of what they were thinking of whenever they made Quake, which was kind of more of a grand adventure with a lot more magic and a lot more fantasy sort of aspect to it. And Medieval is also a pretty decent game, I'd say.
Medieval?
And Medieval. It's mid.
Okay.
They're like AMID evil. So yeah.
Oh man, I didn't get to participate in the final blow of the Charog. Boo!
Oh no, that sucks. Terrible for you.
You
It's
don't.
totally not related to this conversation or anything.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Actually, hey, the guy that was watching, if you're still watching, Hothead, if you're still watching, can you put in the comments whether you can hear AJ or if on your screen it just appears that I'm just talking to the thin air? Good God, there it is. Technical difficulties, please stand by. Can this just load, please? Okay, hang on. I'm gonna save this and then close it, because that's probably why Discord won't load on my computer.
Quake 2 in VR.
They made a first-person shooter in VR. I mean, like, other than Superhot.
There's a ton of those. You don't realize. You don't understand.
Well, I told you, I'm not very well-adversed into the genre, so... Okay, so now, just like for reference, we're fighting like a Gnasher, which is basically a giant reptilian beaver. Confused yet?
Yeah,
And it's dead.
So those are like the beginner ones, but I think
Yeah.
some of them one of them I can kind of transition into the next little thing I wanted to get into before getting back into Doom is Viscera Fest, which is meant to be which is not only just a retro shooter, but also has a little bit of a hint of movement in it. It's a lot more of a movement-based shooter. So you know Titanfall, right?
I've
Like
heard of it.
Titanfall or Apex Legends.
Oh, I know what Apex Legends is, yeah. Oh, crap. Sorry, there were like two behemoths that just spawned in, so that's great. So yeah, I'm struggling to get Discord to work on my computer, so we may end up having to switch over to a group call on... What is that on the... I don't know. But we may have to switch to a group call on regular phone, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. First podcast, and I'm already having more technical difficulties than I thought I would.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, true. So anyways, yeah. Were we gonna keep talking about recommendations, or were we gonna move on?
I think we're gonna try and there's one last recommendation for.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's more of a retro shooter more than it's like an advanced shooter, kind of like what Doom is.
Okay.
So the one game I wanted to mention here is one called Ultra Kill, which is the one that everybody knows out of all of the ones to come out of this sort of retro shooter craze. The one that everybody knows and everybody loves, everyone that has played at some point, more than likely, is always going to be...
Ow, crap.
It's always going to be Ultra Kill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah. Yeah, Ultra Kill is probably one of my favorites out of all of them. And whenever there are people who are genuinely making videos that are debating whether or not Ultra Kill is better than Doom, then it's pretty good. As well as people debating on whether or not especially whenever Ultra Kill as a game is not even finished yet. It's only
Seriously?
maybe slightly more than halfway done.
Oh wow, so this is a recent game.
Yeah, it's only like a little bit finished. It's not super finished. It's only about halfway through its actual development. There's only about 2 acts. There's like a prelude and then 2 acts. And they're still waiting for Act 3, which is going to be presumably the last one.
Oh yeah. So it's like what Bendy and the Ink Machine did with like chapters and stuff.
As far as we know. And even then there's and honestly, whenever a game has a sandbox mode that is also at the same time at the same time,
Okay, hey, I'm gonna try to get Sean in real quick, or the special guest. Alright. So I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna call you, and then hopefully I'll be able to get Sean in for the call too. Alright. Okay. So yeah, bear with me. I'm just trying to get the special guest on the thing. Alright, so, okay, I'm trying to call the group chat. Here we go. Alright. Yep, 4:30. Halfway through the podcast, guys. Or hopefully we're aiming for, Dang it. We said we were gonna do this... Come on, man. Hello?
hello.
Alright, we got AJ back in, so now we're just waiting for the special guest. I swear to God, man, he said this would work. He said he'd have 15 minutes. Come on. Okay. AJ, if you want to keep talking about stuff while we wait on the special guest, then we'll...
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm really just leaning on you to carry the whole conversation for these, because I know nothing about these games except for what I've been told today.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we're going to get the special guest in, so we're just going to have to go on from here. Okay, we'll try another time. We'll try another time. We'll just stay on this, because that way we don't have to switch back over to Discord, and we can keep talking about stuff. But anyways, yeah, so I think we just finished recommendations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I can talk about Doom.
yeah, I mean, talk whatever you want, and I don't have a clue about how any of this would be talking.
Yeah. Doom probably is one of them. So Doom, I'm gonna actually talk about Doom 2016 first.
Okay, go ahead. Hey,
which is the
I told you.
of Doom.
Okay, I told you when we were organizing this that the order of what we would do would be all in your court. So when we were trying to figure this out, I told you.
Oh God, just cracked my neck.
So Doom 2016.
Doom 2016, I don't remember a ton about it, and to be honest, it is like the game's return to form after the third game. Doom 2016 is the fourth game in the series. I'm just going to call it Doom 4 from now on, because I don't know why they just decided to call it Doom instead of Doom 4 or whatever, because they don't want to name things correctly.
Well, usually when it's a reboot, they don't really call it like a sequel. They just let it be like its own standalone thing.
Subtitle or something.
The way you said that, just out of frustration.
It's like, if you're gonna make something that's pretty much just gonna be another version of, it's gonna be a reboot, at least give it a title or something instead of just calling it the same thing, so people have to call it by the year it was released instead of, something else. Something that makes a little more sense. Anyways.
I mean, they call Godzilla 2014, they call anything that's a reboot, it's almost just immediately recognized as a reboot when you give it the year. So if that's what you're going for, I think that's kind of what that's usually the plan.
Yeah. It's probably it isn't really that complicated of a game. There's stuff like web mods and all that, and the game, it's fun, it's fast, it checks all the boxes, and I feel like it has a couple of things that was going for it that other games didn't really have at the time. Stuff like one particular one that pretty much everyone remembers from the Doom reboot was glory kills, which was pretty much just...
glory or gory?
If you get them weakened up to a point, they'll start glowing, and if you melee attack them, you perform a special takedown animation that gives you your health back.
Oh, okay. So wait, did you say glory or gory, just to
Glory.
Glory, okay. I thought you said glory, but I wasn't sure, so...
Yeah, it's glory. Glory's probably one of the better additions, I'd say, to the game itself. It isn't really super... I think it wasn't until Doom Eternal, whenever I think it really kind of made it an actual thing, until eventually, back then, it was kind of a way to get your health back / just kind of there to be more Doom-y, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So is Doom Eternal the last installment so far, or just...
Huh?
Is Doom Eternal the last installment so far, or just...
It's the last installment so far, and
Okay.
it says it's the last one of the reboot trilogy, I think. I mean, the reboot duology, whatever you call it.
Insert title here.
the last one of the insert reboot title here series.
Do you think they're gonna end up making any more Doom games,
sort of,
or
in that regard?
so will they end up making any more Doom games, or are they just gonna leave it at
No,
this?
there will be. They say there will be more Doom games. It's just not one involving the Doomslayer, which is kind of concerning to me.
How does that even work? Because isn't Doomslayer like the main guy there?
What they're gonna do with like a new protagonist in the Doom universe? Because I feel like Doomslayer is kind of the perfect protagonist for a game like Doom.
How much you want to bet it's like a Secret Son or something? Because that's usually the format.
It's like a God of War game where you play as the little like
Atreus.
son, whatever.
Atreus, yeah. That's probably what's gonna happen. We're probably gonna get like a God of War thing where they go from playing as a character, they go to like his son or something. Like his son or his kid or whatever.
Yeah.
I am really hoping they can hear you.
Like a ton of pops in my back that concerns me. I feel like I'm gonna like break my entire back.
Well, worst case scenario, you still have the ability to play first person shooter games, right?
Yeah. You're right on that.
Just get to stay home and play first person shooter games. That's your dream, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that right.
It's your dream, isn't it? Just sit there, play first person shooter games all day.
That sounds like the dream. It's probably been a nightmare.
Is that what you did during the pandemic? You just played like a bunch of first shooter games, or just...
No, I played like a ton of little games. Actually, probably my favorite one was a top-down, like little rogue. It was a roguelike. It's called.
Okay.
A rogue. You never actually like heard of a roguelike before?
Listen, I only know like
Okay.
the very basic video game genres. Okay, I don't know like every genre that's out there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Anyways, yeah, roguelike. It's just basically just a game where you're like the game's like a lot shorter, but your progress is reset after each death. You have to beat the entire game in one shot.
Oh, so it sounds
There's a
like
lot of
super
stuff
hot
like where
level.
it's like a lot of them are procedurally generated, so like it's randomized, so each run is completely unique and different and all that.
So it's basically super hot levels minus the randomization.
I guess. Except one level is the entire run.
Yeah.
Typically, like, the games come with a lot of secrets and a lot of other stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for, Alright, so, Doom. Back to that again.
Okay, back
because,
to,
we already got
back to
on
the
topic.
whole point of this podcast.
Let's go back to the point of this whole podcast instead of the stuff I probably was going to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess our special guest can just join whenever.
Like, decently prepared, but probably my favorite part of it, probably the favorite part of it was the mods and the quick switching. Probably the two things I think made the game as like addicting as it was, like how good.
Okay, and was this 2016 or Eternal?
2016 was well, I mean, it was both 2016 and Eternal had this going for them, but it was the it was quick swapping and mods, the weapon mods. It's not like actual mods, but essentially weapon mods are just giving alternate I know what a weapon mod is. Alt fires, which is basically giving a right-click shot to your gun.
Okay.
These weren't this wasn't really too terribly complicated a system. It's pretty much just giving your weapons a little more of a different shot to add a little bit of variety to the game.
Alright.
So
it was like, and I know a lot of people aren't gonna like this analogy, but just to sum it up for kids who don't.
For the kids.
For the kids watching this, if there are any, because I think last I checked we only had one viewer, but for the Fortnite children that are watching this, it's basically a reality augmentation, except it came first and was original. Let's be clear here. Doom.
Let me be clear.
Let me be clear. Doom came before Fortnite. Okay, that's kind of the whole point of it. We're trying.
Before Fortnite.
Am I wrong? Am I
I
wrong?
mean, like, yeah, but I don't feel like it's like something you really have to spell out. I don't feel like it's that.
Okay, well, let's be honest here. How many Fortnite kids are gonna see Doom in the battle, are gonna see Doomslayer in the battle pass and think, "Oh my God," and then they see Doom Eternal or Doom 2016 and think, "Oh my God, it's the guy from Fortnite." That's the whole point of this, to prevent that.
To begin with, so I mean, yeah, you're right.
The whole point of this is to prevent that. That's like why we're here.
All right, fine, you're right.
So yeah. Anyways, you were saying?
Yeah. The quick switching in the mods like on like a few of my favorites were for like the little heavy assault rifle weapon you get. Micro missiles are always my favorite. I like the firing noise, they stick it to enemies and have a delayed explosion in them.
So it's
the
like
general,
it's
like
like
a really fun and satisfying weapon.
So it's like a sticky grenade launcher, basically. Not
Speaking
from
of sticky
Fortnite.
grenade
just
launchers, speaking of sticky grenade launchers, in Eternal at least, you also get the mod that it's basically just that, but for the shotgun, where you can pretty much get a. But we'll get into that whenever we get into Eternal, because that has a ton of extra stuff in it that.
Well, we only have like
really
18 minutes left, so you may want to. God, I keep trying to play
anyways,
this guy.
Wrapping up like 2016, a lot of like the foam weapons and also the quick switching. So think of like my favorite sort of a combo is switching from shooting something with micro missiles, so shooting with a little burst, switching to the shotgun, and then switching to the super shotgun, and each shooting them with a burst that comes out. Each is like that whole like combo of shots comes out in about probably say like 2 seconds of about 3 rounds of buckshot. Or actually, right now it would be considered like 5 because each super shotgun shot is essentially 2. That's essentially just like 2 normal shotgun shots, right?
Okay.
It's a double barrel.
So
If that
okay.
makes anything. If that,
Yeah.
like, makes
Yeah.
And then like immediately switching to the railgun, which of course is a railgun in this game that you can also use to jump, by the way. So if you want to do some like advanced movement whenever there isn't really that much in this game, you can shoot yourself around with the railgun, just a recoil to boost yourself around. Which is really fun to do. Whenever you get the hang of it or you get a proper situation to use it.
I can imagine, because I just like, whenever there's like a new mobility item in a game, my first instinct is to take that around in some random mode and just be a complete idiot with it.
Yeah, movement has always been like one of my favorite things about the game, which is always what I really like about games like Ultra Kill with stuff like a lot of like dash jumping and a lot of being able to boost yourself, like using particular like weapon combinations, like using a technique people call nuking and using it to boost yourself. So using a literal nuke to boost yourself around is real fun, stuff like that. That's what I really like about a lot of what the new shooters are coming out is a lot of movement related stuff.
Yeah.
Like Viscera Pest from before. That game has a lot to do with bunny hopping. And that's actually really addicting whenever you get to pull it off correctly, whenever you get the technique down.
And then I hate to make the analogy, but this is only the start, so we can make the analogies for now. It's like how Fortnite started adding more and more vehicles, and over the, like in Chapter 2, Season 3.
Yeah, that works. That kind of works as a good analogy. Yeah. Yeah, also. Alright. Yeah.
Okay.
And now over to Eternal.
Yeah, we need to do that because we're running out of
There's a
time.
completely different kind of philosophy that they went into making this game, where it's not exactly meant to be such a simplistic but a mindless shooter like the Doom 2016 was, where it's mostly just kind of, shoot them. You could, like, beat the entire game using one weapon, or you could beat the entire game as a polygon journalist that looks like whenever they were playing, they looked like it just had a lot of There's a look at actual gameplay for Polygon and tell me whether or not it's actually real.
Okay.
Anyways, that game, there's a whole bunch of extra additions that try to make this a little more of make the loop of the game, sort of gameplay loop. They decided to make it not exactly like a mindless shooter. They want it to be a mindful shooter, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
A lot of it goes into a loop, like a kind of a feedback loop of resource management. It's not just about killing enemies, it's also about managing resources and whatnot. Something like ammo, for example. Like the ammo system, a lot of people really didn't like because people who played the original game and liked it whenever you get to just use one weapon all the time, a lot. They were kind of mad whenever Doom Eternal changed the ammo system to make it so you were a lot more limited on ammo to encourage you to switch between weapons a lot more.
So I'm not much of an
play a lot more variety.
So yeah, I'm not much of an expert on this, but I do think they could have done a mode that was more ammo-oriented so that you could have, like, the people that wanted that thing, like, that wanted to have the, restraint of having the ammo as, like, a challenge, and then you could have, and then the people that just wanted to shoot stuff could have, like, the other mode that wasn't as ammo-oriented.
Well, you say that, but at the same time, the entire philosophy of Doom Eternal was not exactly being like a lot of other games, AAA games at the time, where you could kind of play in any way that you wanted. They kind of wanted you to be focused and down into one good, and probably my favorite, and just the one particular gameplay style, which is a lot more like what you think you would want to play as Doom. You want to be like doing all this like cool stuff. You want to be like switching between a bunch of weapons. You want to be ripping and tearing and all that, and you can't exactly do that whenever you can. Whenever you're only using one weapon.
Yeah, I see.
And the way that another way that they're able to make you use different weapons is also the addition of weak points on demons, like, say the guns on a Mancubus, where, like, both of their arms is like a little cannon. So the way that you would, deal with them is by shooting a sticky bomb, or shooting, which is a mod for the shotgun, using the weapon mod, or using the other weapon mod for the heavy assault rifle, which is a precision bolt, which is basically just like a little sniper shot. You can shoot little arms off, and then you can basically make it so they're reduced to not really having any sort of offense, and make them easy pickings for yourself.
So Doom goes for like a more realistic kind of thing.
I wouldn't say realistic. It's a lot more,
but like
sort of
more realistic than a game where you shoot the guy in the arm with like a shotgun, and that arm is still somehow there. More realistic in the sense of like the physics.
It's not exactly like location-based damage. They're just mostly weak points. There's not really like location-based. I guess like you could shoot the upper body of like an imp or something, and then you can see that they're like, if you kill them, you see like their entire upper body is gone, and there's just a pair of legs on the floor. You can see stuff like that.
But the point is, like, as opposed to shooters that just sit there, you shoot something with like a really powerful gun, and there's like no visible damage other than the thing that tells you did the damage.
Actual visible damage. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. And the way that, like, the whole philosophy around the Doom was, Doom Eternal at least, was kind of, or at least kind of my sort of take on it, is that pretty much any problem that you have is instead funneled into killing demons in a specific manner. Like, how do you heal whenever you're low? You kill them with Glory Kill, because that gives you, or Blood Punch, which is a new ability you get, which is charged by getting glory kills, and basically it's like more health funneling into even more health.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like you think to yourself like, okay, there's armor in this game that you get to, like, whenever you have armor, it eats a little bit of the damage that you take, so it doesn't directly impact your health. Instead, it takes the armor away.
Okay.
Well, how do you get that? You have to use a new equipment which allows you to light demons on fire and then kill those demons that are on fire to get armor. And you can only get a set amount per demon, so you have to try and use it at the right time to get as many inside of it as possible so you can get all of the armor that you can.
So Doom Eternal was a more strategic game.
Shockwave sort of effect. You can go ahead and barbecue a bunch of demons, punch them with Blood Punch, and then get a gigantic increase, pretty much entirely refilling your armor and your health. You also think of another issue, like, say, what if you wanted to get ammo back, because it's pretty tight in this game. You could use the chainsaw, which if you kill an enemy with a chainsaw, you get a ton of ammo of every type.
So basically, you take out your chainsaw, you cut off a demon's head, and do that.
Yeah. The chainsaw in Doom 2016, the way it worked, it was pretty much just a one-shot weapon, where you had to use a certain amount of fuel for it to instantly kill an enemy. like heavier enemies, like stuff that's not like the random fodder demons, like
Yeah.
Doom Eternal calls them fodder. The ones that you can use like you have 3 pips for it. It takes up only 1 to kill a small demon, and it takes up 3 to kill like a mid to high level. And then some of them it just straight up doesn't work on them, like stuff like bosses. Doom Eternal works the same way, but the way this works is that fodder demons are pretty much just pinatas for all of your different sorts of needs.
So basically, a fodder demon is for getting better at a gun, basically.
Packs and ammo packs, if you think about it, if you really condense it down.
Okay.
It's just stuff like you have to learn how to just barely injure them enough to get them into a glory kill state so you can kill them without accidentally killing them outright.
So really, the only strategy with the fodder demons is just to keep the.
It's technically like,
It's like yeah.
Priority targets. It's only whenever you need something from them is whenever you should go after them. But also, you can't really ignore them because after 2016, they were made a lot more aggressive and a lot more dangerous. So at the same time, they kind of become legitimate threats as well, especially during like the early game, whenever you're mostly fighting them.
Okay, so it's basically fodder demons stronger now.
Fodder demons are stronger, but they're also more useful, and also you have to try and keep them around for as long as possible to make sure you're not running low on any sort of resource that would make it so you can struggle against fighting higher level demons. And the sort of weak points it also makes it a lot easier to. The weak points makes it so as long as you have like a decently like precise aim, you could both immobilize the defense and also take out a decent chunk of health for most demons. And for some of them, you can instantly kill them if you do something properly, like using the sticky bomb on the Kako demon, which is like it looks like a gigantic meatball with a mouth. If you shoot a grenade directly into their mouth, they will go into
I think I know what you're talking about.
Kill them.
I think I know what you're talking about. You're not gonna like this, but I think they made that demon Doomslayer's glider.
Doomslayer's glider?
Doomslayer's glider in the game.
Glider? I mean, like, they kind of had at one point, there was a cutscene where he uses and I forgot to talk about my favorite weapon mod for the game being the super shotgun. Which, do you know how you have to light an enemy on fire in order to get armor from them?
Sure.
The super shotgun gets a mod for it where if you hit someone with its meat hook, there's a grappling hook to your shotgun that pulls you directly towards enemies that allows you to get into prime range. And you can also pretty much use them as like grapple points. And then you also get armor for it. Of course, it does have like a cooldown and all that, but it's still pretty insane how useful it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game kind of like goes into a loop where not even at the last level, the first weapon will still be helpful. Every single weapon is still helpful. You don't have to get upgrades more than you get add-ons to what you can do. You get more stuff like you get a new weapon that allows you to do certain new things, like you're able to deal with demons in different ways, and allows you to get variants, which allows you to develop your own playstyle. Where you see a certain demon as a problem and a certain weapon as the solution for it.
Yeah, that reminded me is like a meme that said it was Carnage. It was Carnage, and he said, "Violence is never the answer. Violence is the question. The answer is yes."
And the answer is yes.
Yeah, I think I sent that one to you, didn't I? Or did I send that to my cousin? I can't remember.
Yeah, I probably sent it to your cousin. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I just remember like some other things.
And with Carnage's personality, I think that's pretty easy to guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we've got like
nothing really, and also the demon type, and also demon types.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types, a lot of different weapons that are useful against them, and there's more weaknesses and stuff that they're strong against, so you're encouraged even farther to switch between weapons, because you can't exactly go against something with the sort of weapon they sort of resist or are not very affected by.
So it's kind of like Dauntless, there's different...
weak points, like the super shotgun can't destroy the weak points, but using something like a heavy assault rifle or using the sticky bomb, it works perfect for that.
Nice. We've got about 5 minutes left in the podcast. Oh crap! Okay, never mind. We're just gonna do this until this island event is over, because this will probably last more than 5 minutes, and I've still gotta fight several behemoths. Unless you've gotta go somewhere, in which case I'll just end it and then.
Yeah, I mean that was about as much as I wanted to talk about, quite honestly.
What do you? Anything else you want to talk about at all, or just like anything just like off the top of your head?
Which is the one I like the most, one I wanted to talk about a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about how it forced you to play a lot more mindfully and made you.
Yeah.
And made it it was more of a rigid sort of gameplay loop. Like you can't really have too much variance in how you play.
Yeah.
You can mix up mods and whatnot and use them in certain situations. Like, yeah, a situation could have multiple solutions, and whichever one you prefer, I guess, how you make your playstyle. But really, the only way that a different playstyle you can really see is depends on someone's skill. That's really it's like, how, it's like water. The really only way you can get any sort of flavor in it is its temperature, honestly. Like, the only flavor of water is temperature.
Yeah, and then
cold water's real good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone likes warm water, honestly.
Bro, one time my tennis coach I was talking to one of my tennis coaches, and he said and I don't think this is true, but I just went along with it because I was tired that day. But
What was it?
he said that supposedly, and I have no faith that this is true, but he said that supposedly warm water is supposed to be better for you because it doesn't freeze your insides or something. Don't know where
he's. Did
he's.
you go any farther than that? Did you just say it freezes your insides?
He said freezes freezes
sort of warning.
Like it makes it a lot colder or something. Like I don't know if it necessarily was freezes, or something like that. But
it's kind of like your heart slowing down at some point. There's really only any rare moments where something like cold water is actually going to be the reason something will kill you. Like you already have to be on your way out for it to kill you.
Yeah. I don't know if he meant specifically when that was going on, or if just, in general, but, I was just...
That sounds really weird.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that. That was something weird. I just wanted to get, a second opinion on that.
Do you want a second opinion? You are also ID.
You say for a second opinion I would need ID or something?
No, this is do you want a second opinion? You are also ugly. Let's do a
no.
sound,
yeah, oh, okay, so it's a short or something. Oh, hey, note to oh wait, no, I'm just being dumb here. I forgot that I died previously and had revived myself. I forgot. Oh wait, yeah, falling doesn't regenerate. Falling off the edge of the map doesn't regenerate your health.
I don't think falling really regenerates your health, they would just kill you.
No, but it was falling you don't really have a set amount of lives per se. It's however many times you get 3 self-revives to start with, and then people in the same hunt as you can revive you. But I don't think there's anybody in this hunt because I've been fighting several lesser Embermains and Embermains on my own even after setting up a flare, and nobody has come to help me. Most of this, since I started most of this video, or most of the last bit of this podcast has basically been me getting beat up by a bunch of Embermains.
Nice. What kind of game is Dauntless?
So I don't know, I don't really want to call it an open world because there's levels that you go to. But there's it used to be how it used to be was you would spawn on this little area of floating islands, and you'd have to try to find this giant monster, or behemoth as they're called. And there would be single hunts that you would go in and all that. And then you could do it with friends and all that. Now they have these things called hunting grounds, which is basically a which is basically a bigger area with different behemoths suited for that environment. So, like, you have, like, this fire area that I'm in now, so you got, like, Embermanes and Charogs. For some reason, there's also Nashers and, things called Skarns, which are basically giant turtles with spiky, painful rock shells that they can control with their minds.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna survive this one. Be helpful if there was literally anybody else on this island that could come in and kill some of these, but you know.
You wish you had like a friend. You wish like someone would come in. It's like, wow, I sure hope some shine lightning, shining armor comes in and saves me.
And all of a sudden I see my cousin, who's basically gone nocturnal at this point, come in and be like, I got you, friend. I got you, bro.
It's like they got like a spotlight. You're like a spotlight. You're like a.
Basically, I'm one hit away from dying, and they're right there. And my friend, because there's like a feature where you can knock over the behemoths with heavy attacks. So, just like this thing is charging at me, and all of a sudden I see this gun blast that just that knocks over the behemoth. I'm like, could it be? And I turn around and see his gamer tag. I'm like, yes! It's like that moment in Infinity War when Thor comes in and Hulk's in the Hulkbuster armor just says, haha, you guys are so screwed!
Just comes in with like literal like the Hulkbuster armor.
No, Thor came in. He was stuck pinned down under like a horde of monster things, under like a horde of alien things.
Explain this graph to you that I just found. Alright, so you mix Tabasco and Gatorade, you get Tabasco Raid, and you mix peanut butter and Juggernog, you get G-Nut Butter, G-Nutter, then you mix milk and napalm, you get Maypalk, thick milk, as it's also called. You can also mix Sprite and NyQuil together, and then of course you get lean.
Lean? How do you get lean from Sprite and NyQuil? Wait, what?
You get Limp-Alk. You mix Gator Basco Raid and G-Gon Nutter. You get G-Bass Nutter Raid, and you mix it with the Limp-Alk. You mix it with that, and you also mix it with another thing that is Bang Energy Drink and Ibuprofen. Ibuprofen. You get Ibuprofen, and you mix those three together, you get the Ibong Ascot Nutter Palk.
Okay.
Also known as the Food of the Gods.
What? So yeah, I know the whole situation we made a second ago was
You'll be able to beat gods. It's like a fast pass.
So yeah, I know the whole scenario we envisioned a second ago was a joke, but I'm actually kind of getting close to that moment. The only thing keeping me alive is like 165 hit points and 321 shield. That's all that's keeping me alive right now. What?
You're gonna mix napalm and milk together.
No. Isn't napalm just fire?
Napalm is it's like liquid that's like highly flammable as far as I know. It's like oil.
So basically drinkable oil?
I guess. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's drinkable. Oil is also drinkable, like once. Alright, hold on, let me look up what is napalm.
Okay, one Embermane down. I just gotta do one more and he's halfway there. I swear to God, if there's like another group of behemoths that come in, I'm just gonna cry.
It's a Centiorate mixture of a gelling agent that is volatile petrochemically. By that I mean it's a mixture of gelling agent and a volatile chemical that will be used to make things go ablaze, pretty much.
It go boom.
And one of the images here that's like showing napalm being shot out looks like just a tank pissing.
Is napalm what they use for flamethrowers, or is that just regular propane gas?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay, I can't really research that right now.
I'm safaring right now, I guess.
Okay. And, so yeah, another thing to watch out for in, Dauntless, just to keep a conversation going so I have a reason to finish this island event. There's a thing called a danger level, which is like if a hunt starts going too long, then, okay, I'm at like max danger. If you get to max danger, then the hunt will kind of, I guess, get close to ending, and you can't revive anybody. So I guess it's kind of like overtime, basically.
It's basically meant to be like a time limit, like a time limit to make sure you're not taking too much time on these. You have to like rush a little bit.
Oh, this could also just be like the time remaining left for my hunting grounds thing. Oh crap, I'm gonna die soon. I'm like one hit away.
Liquid fuel, like either gasoline or diesel.
Oh god. I gotta be really careful right now, because I'm gonna die. I'm dead. I think I've lost. Can I revive myself? Yes. Okay, so you can still revive yourself, but teammates can't revive you. Okay, come on, shield, keep me alive! Come on. Come on, I just want to land my shots and kill this thing for the love of God. This is my last moment. It's dead! Yes! Oh my god, it's dead! Please don't spawn another behemoth, I'll cry. Oh my god, did I do it? I did it! Wow! Let's go! Eat that, Embermane. I'm gonna go pass out real quick.
Alright, sounds like
end of the podcast. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay super, keep gaming. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Okay, I guess he's not gonna say bye. Okay, see you guys later. Stay super, keep gaming. Bye. Can I just get to the menu for me to... There we go. Nobody was